broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yes! Welcome to another AfterBuzz TV Aftershow of Shark Tank Season 7, Episode 17. Here on AfterBuzz TV, I'm Cameron Lewis at the Cab Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on Twitter, by the way, AfterBuzz TV. Use the hashtag ABTV Shark Tank. We want to think of another hashtag for this show, so let us know if you have a good one. Sitting to my left.
Hey, I'm so happy to be back. My voice was completely gone last week, so in case you missed the quiet from my seat, that's why. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Zoe Said What. That's ZOE Said What. And you can also find me on YouTube at Zoe Hewitt Hosting, where I do a weekly movie analysis show. And to my left.
And Zoe couldn't say what last week, so
That's right.
Because she couldn't.
Yeah, because she couldn't. I'm Chris Howard. You can find me at Chris Howard Live on Twitter, also at legendarylivingdaily.com, where I've got lots of motivational, inspirational.
Go there.
Cool stuff. Oh, you're such a stud.
Go there. Go there.
And you
Look at
can
this.
also find me at legendarylivingtv.com for YouTube. I didn't take the breath at the right time. I timed it wrong. So
Yes.
you should take my speaking course too. It's really good.
James Lott Jr.
I'm James Lott Jr. You can find me on Twitter at BlackHopeLA. That's BLAK HopeLA, and James Lott Jr. everywhere else.
Now, folks, we have a lot of things to get to tonight. We have Smart Plant. We have Bee. What is that? Bee Free Honey. We have Float Baby. We have... what is
M.
this?
Taylor.
Thank you. I can't read my own handwriting, but first, we have a special treat for you.
Yes.
Because joining us right now on the Shark Tank After Show is Shaan Patel from 2400 Expert.
Way
he was
too
on
awesome.
Shark Tank a couple
Yes.
episodes ago from this season. Shaan, what's going on?
Hi. Thanks for
Hey,
having me.
Sean.
Hey,
Hi, how are you guys doing?
fantastic.
Good. We're glad you could join us.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I know. Straight out of my dorm room at Yale. So,
Right? And not many shows can say that.
No, not at all. You know what? We want to pepper you with questions.
That's
Can
right.
I ask the first one? Because I want to go.
Sure, but
Absolutely.
before you
Okay,
do,
you
really
go
quick, if you don't, Shaan, could you remind everybody exactly
Yes.
what your business
Yeah.
is for those of our listeners and viewers that didn't get a chance to see that episode?
yeah, so my business is called 2400 Expert, and it's a test preparation company that offers 6-week test SAT and ACT prep classes in 20 cities and online. You can find us at 2400expert.com.
Great, and you ended up getting a deal with Mark, right?
Yeah, so I went on Shark Tank and I ended up closing a deal with Mark Cuban for a 20% equity stake in my company in exchange for a $250,000 investment.
All right, there it
Nice.
is. Chris Howard, what do you
Wow.
got for
Okay,
us?
because you know, here we are. We're breaking down the episodes. I forgot that you had gotten the deal with Mark. I remembered the episode very well, except for that part.
Yeah.
I remembered it well. But
Yeah.
yeah. So now you got this deal with Mark. So what you had talked to us just briefly, and they made us stop about the increase that you've had in terms of awareness with the brand. What's happened since the show?
Yeah, no. So, I mean, a lot of people, when they think about Shark Tank, you think about the value being in the investment. But I think the value also of Shark Tank is that you get 7 million people, or plus actually 10 million probably with DVRs and all of that, to basically pay attention to your business for 10 minutes. So it's really known as the Shark Tank effect, and sales really just start booming afterwards. And so we're actually doing about 5 to 10 times the sales compared to last year at the same time. And so it's been a huge boost for us, as well as obviously working with Mark Cuban and Mark Cuban himself and his team. That's been terrific as well.
So you've had a 5 to 10% or 5 to 10 time increase in sales. You said how does that change affect the company? Like, so did you end up finding more experts to work with, or what does that growth look like on the business?
Yeah, so in terms of growing the business, what we've done is we've expanded into a lot more cities. Like I said, we're in about 20 major cities, from New York, LA, San Francisco, Dallas, of course, with Mark Cuban being a partner. And what I do is I hire.
Shaan, let me ask you: are these, so when you say you're in those cities, are these physical brick and mortar locations?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we offer both. We offer classes in brick and mortar locations. So when I say I'm in a city, we offer basically a classroom that can fit about 10 to 20 students, whiteboards, projector, the whole thing to teach our classes. And in those cities, I can't be in every city myself. So what I do is I hire well-qualified instructors, and what I mean by well-qualified is people that have scored in the 99th percentile on either the SAT or ACT, depending on what they're teaching, as well as with previous teaching experience. And finally, I also train them to teach my curriculum and content that I've developed.
Right.
Shaan, do you sleep at night?
Well, it's pretty late here, and so as you can see, I'm wide awake.
It's a lot of coffee,
So I have a question. One of the big things on the show is that you were teaching all of the classes because people wanted you specifically, but you didn't get into very much of how your prep course is different and how you've been able to double the increase. You said the other SAT prep courses do, I think it was about 150 points higher, and you were doing about 300 higher. I might have my numbers slightly off, but how is your program different then?
I think. Okay, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So in terms of how it's different is, we really offer more prep than anyone else. So we have a 60-hour prep course. So 60 hours over 6 weeks, basically 10 hours a week. And most prep courses, if you look at them, they're about 18 hours. We have really good instructors and really good material. I've poured my heart and soul into this material. I mean, back when I was in high school, I started out with around an average SAT score and was able to improve it to a perfect SAT score. So there was a lot of things that I noticed that would help students and help myself improve my own score. I improved my own score 640 points. Wow. And our average score improvement in the class is 368 points. And some students do that 700-point improvement like I did, and then there's some students who do 150 to 200 who are already starting very high.
Because I know that was Zoe's big concern, was how were you going to replicate yourself? And of course that was everybody's concern, because you're the thing that stands out in the model. And you're saying, so the way that, and it was real linked into the question that I wanted to ask too, the way that you've been able to replicate yourself is you've somehow systemized it and been able to pass it on to other people, and that's where you're going for your growth and your expansion on that line. Yeah, and
actually some of our instructors get higher score improvements in the classes than even I do. So I'm not saying I'm the ultimate person to teach. I think I've put together really, really good material. I've spent thousands of hours putting it all together in order to do that. I do teach one class myself on Sundays and Wednesday nights online, and that's a very popular class, as well as I did take Lori Grenier's advice on Shark Tank, and I put together a on-demand course, which is basically a pre-recorded 30-hour course of me teaching all of our 100 strategies and examples and all of that. And it's kind of like a Netflix for test prep, but not nearly as entertaining.
How's that working so far from a revenue perspective on that end, on the digital?
Digital's doing great. Lori was right. It does sell very well. I just think that for parents and students, they want all options. So we have the on-demand online option. We have the live online. Live online is sort of like this. It's live. It's not pre-recorded. And then we've got the brick and mortar in person. And so for parents, some are okay with doing the on-demand, but most, I would say, are still opting for the live classes because they want to have that interaction with the instructor. It's very important. If you go with the digital format, obviously, most of education is going in that direction. You think about Khan Academy, you think about Coursera, it's all automated and digital, and that's where, higher profit margins are. But with the same time, you need a very self-motivated student who's not going to be distracted by Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, all of that, and make sure that they're actually doing the course if it's completely automated.
That's my feeling is about that it has to be kind of crossbred, because if it's not a crossbreed, you're just gonna lose the engagement and the interaction, and you know that people are gonna sign up for it and not actually do the work. It's like reading a book. Only what 90% of people that buy the book don't read the book. What so what was, oh boy, what did I want to ask you about that? I'm sorry.
Well, while Chris is thinking, I have another question.
Yeah, go for it, Zoe.
So, if I recall from the show, also, you went to school in one of the worst school districts in the country, and clearly you were smart to begin with. To, you know, no matter how much studying you did, to even be able to raise your score to a perfect score is pretty amazing. So, what do you see when you see kids coming in from various school districts?
Yeah, I don't think it matters where you go to school. You know, I grew up in Las Vegas, so Clark County School District is the name of the school district. But, you know, the reason that we have a 40% dropout rate and the reason that we're so bad, you know, it's really between us and Mississippi usually every year. And the reason it's not good is because, you know, if you go to Las Vegas, if you go to high school in Las Vegas, you can go park cars at the Bellagio valet and make $60,000 a year, and so a lot of people just drop out of high school. They go and work in casinos, and so I really don't think that it's where you go to school. I don't think you necessarily need to go to a private school or you need to go to a boarding school or anything very expensive. You know, I went to public or urban public schools my whole life, and what I tell students is, and really parents of students is, you know, it's great if a parent wants a student to do well in school or do well to go to college and all that. That's all fine and good, and you know, every parent wants the best for their child. But I try to tell the student is, what I try to convey to the student is, you need to know why you want to do well in high school or why you should do well in high school. For me, I wanted to get into medical programs, and I wanted to win a lot of scholarships. So I had specific goals in mind. And so without a goal, or sort of, you know, your parents are sort of an external motivation. And what I tell students is, you need that internal motivation if you're really going to put in the effort and hard work to succeed.
Absolutely.
You're a fired up guy. I mean, I think Mark saw that in you. There's no doubt about it. I think you got a bad rap early on for being too spread thin or diversified. But I think probably Mark's seen through that to see the golden side. What percentage of your business is online versus offline currently?
I would say post Shark Tank. So pre Shark Tank, I think on the show it was about 40-60, something like that. I'd say post Shark Tank, it's now gone to about 70-30, so more online than in person. Right. And I think that's a result of, you know, being on Shark Tank. You know, we're in 20 cities, but we're also not in 95% of American cities, right? So most people are enrolling online now just because we aren't in every city in the country, which I hope, you know, that's the long-term goal, is to be, you know, everywhere.
How has Mark been as a partner so far? What's it like to work with him? Yeah,
so Mark's awesome. Mark, primarily communicate with him. So interestingly, actually, you know, there's a lot of due diligence. I don't know if all the viewers know, but not every you know, Shark Tank deal, handshake deal on set and on TV, and not everyone actually ends up closing. I've heard something as much as 2/3 actually don't close. And I was fortunate enough to have my deal close, but it did take a very long time. I think partly because Cuban has made so many investments this year that his venture team had to take a little bit more time for the due diligence. So my deal only closed about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and so in those 3 or 4 weeks is when I actually have started working with Cuban and his team pretty closely. So Cuban and I email weekly. You know, he'll send me some things about education, I'll send him some things. He has a whole sort of venture team set up, which makes sense. You know, he has so many investments. So I work with his website team that made sure that our website didn't crash during the airing because of the huge spike in traffic. We work with the business team. He's sort of, you know, he said he would take over some of the administrivia. So they've sort of taken over accounting, some legal things. So it's been very nice in a lot of ways to have Cuban as your partner.
Were there any moments that you were worried the deal wouldn't close? What were they looking for in the due diligence that took so long?
Not necessarily. I think they want to make sure that your revenue numbers are correct, your expense numbers are right, that you're actually registered as a company. I think you'd be surprised as, you know, what people say on TV and then what actually shows up in the documents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when you look at the parents, so what? I know we've got to wrap things up here pretty quickly, but when you look at the parents as being your target market, which I thought, right out the gate, you accurately stated that that's obviously the target market. They're the ones that are the decision makers. How are you reaching out to them? Are you reaching out to them via webinars, or what? How do you make your sale? Where do you, at that point of sale, how do you do it?
Yeah, the nice thing about working with Cuban is he knows a lot about digital marketing. So we're big on digital marketing now, with whether it's search engine optimization, pay-per-click, retargeting, Facebook, free webinars. It's really running the gamut these days, and we're expanding our digital marketing. The thing is, before, on the show, Kevin gave me a lot of sort of a hard time about not knowing my customer acquisition cost. But that's partly because I didn't really do much marketing previous to Shark Tank, and so was it zero, or was it the cost of operations, I suppose, divided by the number of customers? But now we're really taking a look at what our customer acquisition cost is with all of these new marketing efforts that we're putting in, and it's paying off with some great ROI.
That's awesome. We're so proud of you.
Really interesting.
So
Were you
great.
Were you able to get any sort of school credit for this project, like an independent study?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we, because I'm in business school, I'm very involved in the entrepreneurial community here at Yale. They let me do an independent study for my business, where I worked closely with the entrepreneurial director at Yale, and then I also there's actually a class called Startup Practicum, which is sort of you get credit to work on a venture, and so this is my venture that I'm getting school credit for.
Nice.
So it's sort of killing two birds with one stone in that sense.
So have you been asked to speak to your fellow
killing
students?
birds. Oh, sorry.
Have you been asked to speak to your fellow students? Do you think we'll see more Yale students on Shark Tank after this?
Oh, I think so. Open call auditions are from March through June or something like that. I auditioned last April, and I'm getting a lot of my classmates ready for the open call audition. I encourage all AfterBuzz viewers, if whether you're an entrepreneur, someone with a small business already existing, you just have an idea. A lot of people are like, well, I don't need an investment. Yeah, well, that's fine. Even if you don't need an investment, make up some reason that you need the investment, because the strategic partnership that you could get from a shark, as well as more importantly, the publicity and marketing and exposure that your company will get from Shark Tank, is transformative for a company. I mean, it would have taken us years and years to get to the growth that we're now seeing this year.
That's really cool.
I want to
That's
ask.
amazing.
This is James. I haven't asked a question yet. What's the question? Damn it! So I haven't asked any questions whatsoever. This is my one question to you. My one question to you. I'm actually an entrepreneur myself. I'm a small business super organizer, and I want to add. I'm an overachiever like you are, and I just want to ask you, what do you do to keep yourself centered?
Keep myself centered. In what sense?
Like, all the stuff is happening for you. You have a million things going on. Like, for myself, I'll go in the garden sometimes and hang out. I have a great support system. Do you have that in place personally and professionally? You have a great support system. Do you play Frisbee, like, every Friday? Like, what do you do to keep it? Because this is a lot of stuff happening for you. What do you do to keep yourself kind of grounded as all this is happening?
Yeah. So, a few things. One thing is, I'm constantly go to the gym. I know I don't look it, but I go to the gym, burn off steam. Put your music in. Go out on the weekends with your friends, at least one night out. Or with your significant other or whoever. Blow off some steam that way, and then wake up every morning, and the first thing you should think about, or at least that I think about, is something I'm grateful for.
I agree.
And that really helps
totally
me keep. If we want to get a little deep here.
So what are you most grateful for now as a result of all of this?
The most grateful, the coolest part about Shark Tank for me was not like the revenue that's come in or the publicity or marketing. The coolest thing was the expression on my parents' faces to be part of all of it, and to sort of tell their story on a national stage, because we got the chance to do that sort of pre-roll before. And that was really special.
Did you know for sure that yours would be shown? I assume they must shoot a lot of those.
No, I didn't. When they came to Vegas to film the pre-roll, they just said this increases your chances of airing, but it's not guaranteed. So that was one of the most stressful parts, is not knowing whether you're going to air or not. Because if you air, it could be really transformative to your company. If you don't air, I mean, you still have a strategic partner, but you may not get that sort of huge boost right away in exposure. So as well as, for a product company, I'm sure it's even more stressful because you have to get your inventory ready in 2 weeks. They give you about 2-week notice. For us, it wasn't as stressful because we don't have a lot of product or inventory to keep. But we did have a lot of schedules that we had to change around in order to coincide well with the airing, and so that was a little stressful. But yeah, the stress of not knowing whether you're going to air or not is huge. Only about, or not only, but around 70% of the pitches that actually are done every season actually air. So I was very calculated, as I am, as you could probably tell, being an SAT prep expert, in telling a lot of stories during airing, like the story about my dad. That was calculated in order to increase my chances of airing, and I think it worked.
I love that you're telling us that, Shaan, because I feel like we've talked to people on the show before that kind of lie about this stuff. They're like, yeah, I just went in and I wanted the thing. You're telling us how it is.
Right.
We love it.
And absolutely, they want stories that are personal, and that's what sells.
Yeah, or someone that's entertaining, and I'm not that entertaining, so I had to stick to stories.
Well, Shaan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for joining us.
Come back again. Come back again, because we'd love to hear how you're
in your
going
spare
as you progress.
time.
Yeah.
Give us an update pretty soon. The Twitter again is 2400expert, right?
Yeah, Twitter's 2400expert, website's 2400expert.com. I'm happy to come back again and update you guys to see how we're doing in a few months. And thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for joining us.
Brother.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
I hope that he can find a way to make me smarter post-grad, too.
Oh, you're about
I need that part
Can
of the
you
business
get
as
any
well.
smarter?
Oh, my God.
And hey, you guys, if you want to find out if Cam can get smarter, leave us a message in the comments on YouTube.
Hashtag
Send us a hashtag.
Can get
smart.
smarter.
What kind of contest is this?
Basically, we just want you to
Attacking
send us
my
a note, you guys.
Personality here. Before we hop into
That
the
was
rest
not
of the
an
show,
attack.
we would like to remind you to subscribe to the podcast as well. Rate us 5 stars. Zoe has commented there herself. She's saying how much she thinks I'm very smart.
Well, I just
On there.
commented now right there.
But let
hey.
me remind you guys about a little something called Casper. There's lots of advice on how to get a good night's sleep, James Lott Jr.
Oh, I need that.
And the best advice I can give to get a good night's sleep is you need a great mattress,
Yes.
Chris Howard.
Okay.
Name one of the, do what I did, get a Casper. No, not the friendly ghost, the friendly mattress. Name one of the best inventions by 2015 of Time magazine. Casper is a single perfect mattress for all sleepers.
Okay.
All sleepers.
That's important to go. This is
Zoe Hewitt, all sleepers. It's engineered for supportive comfort that guarantees you a great night's sleep, just like their new sheets and pillow. The dual-layer pillow contains nearly 1 billion microfibers.
That is amazing.
1 billion! That adapt as you move and keep you supported and cool throughout the night. Casper ships its mattresses for free. The coughing fit will not stop. And a
You won't
surprising
cough
offer.
if you have a Casper.
Now you can try it in your home 100 nights risk-free.
Whoa. You
100
guys,
nights.
leave us a message and let us know if you get a Casper.
That's what I want to know. So for a great night's sleep, stop counting sheep.
That's 3 nights. That's 3 months.
Get a Casper.
More.
Go to Casper.com. Use the code AfterBuzzTV, and that'll save you $50, Chris Howard.
Nice.
Say that you're
50
sharper,
bucks.
smarter on the ball for your business, and you're building your business. It casts, I mean, I get it.
You need to
I get
sleep.
it. You
That's
gotta sleep.
$50 against the purchase of your mattress. Casper.com, AfterBuzzTV is the promo code. Terms and conditions apply.
Who at this table gets enough sleep, just out of curiosity?
Me
I think I do.
do not.
Do you
Most of the
really?
time. I do. I tell
I
people
definitely
You're organized to the point.
I am. I get usually 7 hours every night, sometimes 8.
Okay.
I do a lot while I'm awake.
Leave us a message, you guys, and
Well,
let us
we
know
called you
if you get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, or more or less. What is
Know what
next?
you had for dinner as well.
Hashtags what I have for dinner.
I want to know. So let's hop in because we only have a few minutes,
2 minutes
here
to do the show.
for each pitch here tonight.
We
Let's
can do
start
it.
with Smart Plate.
Smart Plate.
This is the plate that measures everything, but doesn't really yet because it's a prototype. He was seeking $1 million for 15% investment in his company. This is the food recognition technology. James Lott Jr. First thoughts.
Oh my God, I'm still on the show. My thing is dumb logo. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Number 2, I like the idea of it, but it's not practical. Like, just the app itself be great. Like, just use your phone, take the picture. Like, the plate itself, like, I wouldn't carry the plate down the street or to the restaurant. Like it's
No, and you're not meant to.
You're not meant to, I know, but it's like it's more for home. But like that technology, I kind of like that just for wherever I go. It measures like when I order something.
You know, this is similar to the product we saw a couple of weeks ago, really, the baby changing table that weighed, and the thought was, okay, well, you're not always at home to find out. But how did no one point out that this is just a food scale?
Yes.
It's a fancy food scale. It's an expensive fancy food scale. $199.
Point, you don't need the plate if the app works.
Right, if the app works, they just take a picture of it. It should be able to recognize everything. Because I like that part of it, or scan it or whatever. But you're right, it's basically a scale.
And better yet, why not combine it with the baby changing station? Make it one product.
Now, the product
You think that thing knows if you're putting a burrito or a baby in it?
It's the same thing.
The baby's full of sodium.
Not babies. Thank God. No, but the baby's bad enough.
Chris, what do you think of this one?
No, I mean, $199 plate
a lot of money.
with little cameras in it that scan the food. It's conceptual. It's an idea. It's a product that doesn't work. But you said it when you said you could do it with an app, and I totally agree. They just makes zero sense to me.
By the way, the cameras that were in it weren't even cameras yet. No. So they were talking about what they'd have to do to actually perfect the camera technology, which makes me worried that it'll end up looking like a cupcake tower by the time they put in cameras.
Right, because the camera has to be higher. They said that because all I could think with where the cameras were placed in that prototype is that if you have mashed potatoes, you're covering your camera.
You have little arms that come out of the plate.
There's a guy named Greg who says, I'm just gotta get this.
But no, I agree with you. It's like you're covering the rest of the food. Like you can't see the food.
In which case, bonus, because you're consuming fewer calories. Maybe this plate is better than you realized, you guys. That's why I'm buying it.
Well, for a family of 4, that's like $400. That's like $800.
And then you got to carry this plate around too.
But is there a price? Is there a price that you'd feel comfortable paying?
$30.
Okay, I'll go with that one. I'll go with that.
Okay.
No.
No,
I just think it's I think it's a bad idea all over, and I think he brought in $10 million already. If I'm not on that.
Yeah.
And so that's. Oh no, I apologize. Am I looking at the right deal? Oh no, I'm looking at what I owe.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's what I owe to the.
Shaan for your SAT prep.
Dang it.
Take 2.
Okay. Yeah, take 2. Cut. Was that they didn't record that?
Nope, that's just a test, guys. It's a test.
It's a test.
Testing.
And 3,
2, 1, go. Hey, Chris Howard here, and
you can follow him at.
You can follow me at yes. No, I just thought it was. I'm going to shut my mouth around that because I was on the wrong page. But I thought it could have been done with an app.
I think so too. Yeah, it could have been done with an app or Jenny Craig. And they did not get a deal. Smart plate. You know, we were talking about this before the show. The logo reminded me of Mercedes.
Yeah, like a car.
It wasn't very. I don't know.
It didn't bother me.
Really?
Okay, didn't bother. Okay.
Up next. Any other final thoughts on?
No, I got back on the right page.
Up next, bee-free honey. 100,000 for 10% is what they're seeking in the tank. Now, I love this one. I love it. This is such an investable business.
I agree.
Holy
what about you two?
Crap.
I agree.
I'm in.
There's
we're
so
all in
many different
agreement.
variables, right? So, my first reaction, if there's one thing I have to improve, it's the packaging, right?
Yes, I agree.
It reminded me of those squirt bottles, the squirt bottles of paint. Like
exactly.
Bottle. That's what they.
Right. Yeah.
But the fact that they can do this
from apples,
honey alternate from apples,
amazing. That's amazing.
And it's a similar consistency, and it still sweetens the thing, and it's cheaper.
Well, it's about the same price.
About the same.
Well,
but I mean, if it's local organic honey, it depends on what you're buying.
Well, local organic is going to be expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you catch that?
Sure.
So when they're saying that comparison.
Regardless, normally something like this is $2 to $3 at least more.
Yes.
So the fact that it's anywhere close is, I think, a big win.
But I think they knew that they had to get their price close or they couldn't compete because how much are you? See, the cough is catching. How much are you going to pay for honey? Did you guys notice that Kevin sort of was a jerk in this one?
Oh.
I've really liked Kevin lately, but I made a note when he made that comment about you guys have made hundreds of dollars in 15 years. And I thought, come on, she wasn't working on it the whole time. And I was turned off.
I get it, though.
I do
get it. You know,
Yeah.
I don't
15
get it.
years
She
is a
wasn't
long
working on
time.
it.
Yeah.
She wasn't working on it for 15 years,
That's a
though.
long time.
No, I get it too.
No.
There wasn't a whole lot that was. I mean, he was being Kevin.
I've had
Right.
shoes
But I
there.
feel like he's been really nice lately. I
has
like
been
him
nicer.
a lot.
He
And
hasn't
so
threatened to kill any dogs lately. So
No,
that's,
yeah,
I like him a lot.
a good thing.
And
Yeah.
so I just felt like I didn't love this comment. What do you guys think? Let us know.
Yeah,
Leave
let
us
us
a
know.
message.
And also let us know what's the new hashtag we need. We're looking for a really cool superhero type hashtag for our Shark Tank show. But let us know. But the Apple, the one thing that I was going to say there was it was a, the whole holistic aspect of it and the idea of saving the honeybees. I don't think the ladies did a good enough job of making the case for the need. And I believe it was Kevin who said, "Why does the world need this?" Or
yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that that's something that it's hard to
that's
accept.
what I said. I said that before.
The bee problem is a problem.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't until Damon came out and said that he had all those bees on his property.
Yeah.
But
Which is hilarious.
It was kind of weird.
But the impact on the honeybees was huge. Like there was, and so there's an ecological impact, and
Yeah.
so they are making a difference. They came out saying save the bees, but they didn't describe the problem enough. If they really pushed the problem, people would go, "Oh my God," and they want to listen. So I don't think they established the need.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. That's a tough sell, though, to begin with, I think, because you're selling people on a product to save things that people generally
Sting
hate
you.
very
If
much.
I get bit, I go to the
So
hospital.
it's like,
So yeah.
I imagine that's a very hard sell. But at the end of the day, they got a deal.
They got a deal.
They got a great
I
deal.
think it was a great deal. You guys
Yeah.
think it was a
I
great
agree.
deal?
Agreed.
It was a good deal.
210,000. 30%, 70K from each. Mark, Barbara,
Right.
and Chris. We forgot to mention Chris Sacca was back on the show tonight.
Yes.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's
too,
always
by the way.
man.
And,
I like him a lot.
This was an insane
married.
deal, though. I mean,
What?
you
You're
have-
married?
You are.
No, I'm not.
you have
But he is.
three completely different sharks, and I think that it's
Yeah.
going to work out so well for them because especially Barbara's big in the food space right now.
Yeah, I like
That's
Barbara. I like
neat.
Barbara.
I did not like the comment when Mark interrupted Barbara and said that you only need Barbara for the hand holding.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was they're not nice to each other lately, and I feel like they've become pickier and pickier. And I know I've mentioned it a few times
Yeah.
before, and it just really stands out to me. I think that they must not like each other.
Well,
There's a lot of competition
it's
going on.
business.
It's
well,
television.
I think that's my point. I was going to say
There
that.
it
I
is.
think it's the producers saying to do that.
Yeah, they got to be a little drama. There's got to be, but
It's just nasty, and I
I agree
can't
with you. I
help
like
but
it.
think the feminist part of me thinks they're not talking to the others that way. They don't say to Chris Sacca, "Oh, be quiet, everyone. He
Right.
just is going to hold your hand. He's not a good
they do
investor."
sometimes. They
Not
knock
like
him.
that.
Not
Not
in
the
a-
same way.
Okay, yeah,
The way
yeah,
they
yeah.
knock Lori and Barbara is different. They knock them as being women specifically, not about business, and they don't knock the others that way.
I don't think Mark perceived it as being a knock. I think he was saying, "Hey, she's going to be there with you each step of the way." I think that's how I felt it coming out. But I hear what
could
you're saying
see
as well.
that.
Yeah, I don't think he was putting her down, but she
Yeah,
felt, she
I don't
felt
think
it as a put
I
down.
agree with
Yeah.
with Chris here because I do think of all the people, meaning this in the best way, Barbara is the one that holds the hands in the
cares?
best way possible.
Who cares? She's going to be there with you.
I actually agree with Zoe on this one. I think that it was a put down, but I think it's producer driven. Like they're saying,
Yeah.
okay, we keep the ratings going, so do this.
Yeah, not
Or
everybody
whatever,
can
kind of.
get
I think so.
along.
But I think it was a cut down at her because she's a woman.
We're a
I
tied
think-
vote.
Yeah.
You got to be the vote breaker. And by the way, people, relate with us here. Give us a,
Leave us a message in the
Leave us a
comments.
message. Please don't make us feel lonely. But let us know. What do you think?
Any
Because
other
we need a tiebreaker.
any other thoughts on Bee Free Honey?
Bee free honey. I think it's fantastic. I think that there's
I wanna try it.
absolutely
I want to know
a
which
market
one
for
of
it.
you is going to buy some and bring it in so we can try it next
Probably
week.
my mother, Benita. Benita, get on it. Go on, Benita, get on it. So buy it. So
Queen of
buy
the
it.
squatty potty. All right.
If
so
you
a few
guys wanna
minutes
try
left,
the
so we
McLaren
have to
Brothers-
hop away.
I want to try everything.
I have that one.
Okay.
Up
I
next
think
is
so.
Hop away.
Float Baby, 150K,
Oh,
Our
20%.
favorite.
Baby spa.
This is the flotation and massage facility for
What did you think of the
baby
photo when you saw the babies floating in the little thing?
Oh man, that was hilarious.
Hilarious.
The video was so
Hilarious.
funny.
Awesome.
Why don't you just buy a bucket from Home Depot
Thank you.
for like $10?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is just
Probably
a
go to
deep
prison.
bathtub.
I'm putting my baby in a bucket.
No, nobody like.
I don't mean
Why
overnight.
don't you work out at home instead of go to the gym?
Oh, there you go.
But-
You know,
Hey,
it's the same.
right.
But it doesn't cost $60 an hour to go to the gym.
No, it doesn't.
It's expensive though.
Some places are. Well,
Cam, whoever says you're not smart,
$10.
I
But
totally
if you do
disagree.
Pilates,
yeah,
that's
that's
I think it's a
$60 an hour.
vanity thing, right?
Oh, totally.
I think it speaks to like the new moms these days. It
The
speaks
granola.
to like, totally the granola, the hipster moms, where you massage the babies, they massage their dogs, the whole thing. As a former nurse, I totally understand the part when what they said about the preemies and it's good for certain things, but this just seems really just kind of like an elective thing. It's not anything needed, I don't think, at this price.
I'm curious what you do think about that, because you just touched on it. Like as a former nurse, where she was saying that the fact that they were floating these babies and massaging them, that it was going to increase something by up to 50%. It was like their cognitive abilities.
How can you measure that?
You can't measure that.
It was validated in 7 countries.
7 countries. I said, rewind that again, please. It was validated in 7 countries. Well, what countries?
Tell me how they validated it. Forget the countries.
Yeah, exactly.
She did say Australia. They did this test and stuff. But my question to you guys is, why do you think the shark said no on her?
Well, so many reasons why.
I think
because you can buy a bucket from
James Lott Jr. Give us a few of those reasons.
Okay, 1, her. 2, her explanation. Her presentation was horrible. 3, her money. She made $44,000 the first year, and she's only at $60,000 now. That's not really much of a thing. And when Mark said, "What is your grind?" Because for me, as everybody, anyone who knows James Lott Jr. online, you know I'm all over almost cussed everywhere. My grind is I am a social media whore, and she should have that video. Should be viral.
Yeah.
She should be doing more to social media stuff and not say, "Well, she's a good practitioner." That's exactly what she is. But she's not. I mean, this thing should be bigger than it is.
She wasn't working.
Do you know what bothered me at the end of the day? If I put one thing that bothered me about her, if I had to put my finger on it, was that she struck me as a person who's stopped learning in life.
Oh, got it.
You guys are harsh. I disagree.
No. I mean, about this business specifically. Maybe not in
They're
all
picking
of
on
life.
the girls, right?
No, I'm not like that.
I know.
But in terms of the business, she believes she's an expert. She probably is in this business, but that can sometimes cripple you. You know what I mean? If you don't have that leniency to learn new things, to learn how to expand, and so on.
I want to hear Zoe what she thinks about that. What do you think about that?
Okay. I was not bothered by her. I thought she seemed nice and fine. The problem I had was that you can buy a bucket from Home Depot for $10 and do this yourself.
Yes.
So,
Waterboard your baby. Yeah, no.
I also, for the record, did not have a problem with the answer to the grind question because I thought it just needed a little more clarification when he said, "What's your grind?" Like, "Oh, do you mean do I like coffee?" You know, I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating, but I can definitely see in the moment that she's thinking, "Okay, I want more specifics. Do you mean what do I do? Do you mean what does the business do?" That she just needs a little more information.
I think though he was upset about the answer. He was upset about the fact that she didn't understand. It was what was he didn't see her as being a hustler.
Yeah.
She wasn't out there working the business to the point where she had filled the business up. And you know, here she is selling an hourly service at a price point to $65 an hour. Where you go, what are we gonna open these centers all over? They didn't quite get it, and they didn't see her as being the partner that they wanted to partner with. So I go back to your point. It was her.
Yeah.
It was that they didn't feel like, boy, this is somebody to go in with. She had a patent pending, so maybe that was worth something. But and it was something that Damon said should go viral. It should go viral. They're telling us 4 minutes left. Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was her ultimately, and the fact that she wasn't out there working it.
Yeah. I think it was the
I'm going to say this one time. I'm going to say this every single time.
Say it.
Every single time.
Do it.
Boy, are you organized?
The show has been on for 7 years. Do your due diligence and kind of research like who your sharks you're going to see possibly, or just all in general. And you have to kind of tailor your presentation.
I completely agree.
Kind of that. Because you know they're going to ask you certain things sometimes. It's kind of like, at least you should have seen the show. I mean, they're going to ask you, how do you promote this? How do you, I mean, especially when you start with a video that's so like funny and kind of cute. They're going to ask you, like, did you market this? Is it viral? How many views did it get? I just feel like the show's been on for 7 years. You kind of have to know certain things.
I agree, and that's how I feel when it comes to the website crash.
Yes.
All that
Yes,
kind of
exactly
stuff.
right.
It's like, oh my gosh.
You know you're going on the show. It's
every
going to
time.
crash. It's going to crash.
Anywho, so Float Baby did not get a deal.
Yeah, we better keep going.
That one is
the baby
on away.
sank.
I'm supremely interested to see what you guys think about M. Taylor. $2.5 million for 10%. It is a app/business that makes a custom shirt for you. It scans your body. That's not creepy. With your smartphone. James Lott Jr., what do you think?
I didn't like him, first of all.
Yeah.
I thought he was a little too. I mean, it's good to be confident, and self-assured. Of course, you have to be when you walk in there. But I feel like it's just a little too much. And I don't know if that was for the TV or whatever. It was a little too much for me. I like the idea because I'm a person who buys shirts online sometimes because I don't have time to go shopping because I'm too busy. And
Get more organized.
I'm organized, but I just get organized my shirts. But no, I like the idea. And the price of the shirt was fine too. $69 was fine for a shirt.
I was gonna ask. I have
To
no
me,
idea.
and I do not.
I think so.
I'm like Old Navy
I think it's a
clearance
great
rack.
price.
That's a great price. It's a great price.
I think
Yeah,
the
that's a
pricing
great price.
was great. The
Okay.
delivery was great.
Yeah.
I'm with you on
Yeah,
that.
I know that one. I didn't care for him so much, but I think it was okay. The product.
Zoe, how about you? What did you think? Would you feel comfortable buying? See, I'm a guy who doesn't buy many clothes online.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm like skeptical that they're going to fit oddly. So I might want to try something like this.
We can return them, so that's a
Is
great
this
thing.
something you would do?
I think this is
$69?
fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I get so much stuff tailored because I'm short, so I
Yeah.
need to get it to the right height, and I just
Yeah.
want it to fit better. So I get a lot of things tailored. So I love the idea that you can do this so easily from home, and you know, he didn't come off the best.
Yeah.
But, you know, that can be nerves. That can be so many other things. That can be that he has a Stanford math degree and his, you know, his expertise is working with numbers and coming up with this amazing app. And his
Yeah.
expertise is not coming in and being warm and fuzzy and doing a presentation in this really high pressure situation. And I think that was evident too because Damon even made a comment like, I don't really like you, but I think this is amazing. So we saw that as well.
And the problem is they got to work with them once they make the deal. So it's like, what's
That's where I always go to. Like, do I want to work with this person or not? But I like the idea. I like the idea.
I didn't.
And the price
I think
is great.
The technology seemed to be really interesting.
fantastic.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Chris Howard, would you have accepted an offer from Kevin? $2.5 million, loan, 7% interest, 2.7 or 2.5 equity. Pay it back after 36 months.
You know, actually, I thought it was a pretty good deal from Kevin.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought it was because I mean, 7%. No, it was 2.5% equity. Right?
2.5% equity, 7% interest,
Right.
36 months payback.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I thought that was a great deal for him. It gave him some intelligence to work with in Kevin,
Yeah.
and it shot some funds into it. I think that he was badly in need of money. That's why he was on Shark Tank, unlike some of them that just want the media appeal. They needed some money at this time. He had taken $10 million from other investors. He's the one who had taken $10 million, and I got it out. And I love the debate that went on with Chris Sacca that showed the brilliance of Sacca. But where they were talking about, it showed the depth of knowledge that he had. But the kid that was pitching this also, it was his name, starts with an M. But the kid that was pitching, Miles, he was switched on too. He knew his stuff. He was correct. It's a great product and all that stuff. But when Chris asked him, would your current investors invest at the current valuation you're offering, or are you just trying to screw the sharks? Basically,
he was trying to screw the sharks.
He's looking to get what he can, and he had a good answer, but he also was cocky. And I think in the end,
I think that's what
it ate him.
Killed it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, he ended up turning it down as well, but anywho. All right, well, that's that, guys. Our quick update was from Illumi. They were in season 5, $2 million in sales. Crazy.
Crazy.
This is insane. The LED, I've seen these lights all over the place. You control your app and stuff. It's really interesting.
This is like what they can do with the Christmas tree lights for less money that we saw earlier this season too.
James Lott Jr., where can people find you?
You find me at Black Hope LA on Twitter, James Lott Jr. everywhere else, AdrenalineRadio.com every Friday.
Oh, yeah.
My radio show, The SOS Show, of course. Thank you very much.
Chris Howard at Chris Howard Live, LegendaryLivingDaily.com for daily tips, stuff like that, and LegendaryTV.com.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Zoe Said What. That's Zoe Said What. And you can also find me on YouTube where I do a weekly movie analysis talking about themes, symbolism, eagle eye details. I talked about Deadpool this week. You can find me there at Zoe Hewitt hosting. Your turn,
You like
Cam.
Deadpool? Was it good?
I did. It was fun.
Right. At The Only Camshaft, Twitter and Instagram. And thanks again to Shaan Patel from 24
Yeah,
Hour
awesome.
Experts
Thanks,
for
Shaan.
joining us. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.